Let's start the Cisco IOS. So actually the full form of iOS is Internet Networking Operating System, and it is a native software of Cisco routers and switches. And Cisco develops different iOS for different platforms, as I told you, right? You'll be having many, like in 1981 is a one router, and 2000 series is one type of router, 3000 series is one type of router, and based on series, Cisco will develop its iOS, and based on these iOS, you will have features. Okay, and yeah, this is a 1841, 2821. This is a 1000 series router. 2821 is a 2000 series router, switch, whatever. And usually you do operation using CLI. Whatever you do, you have to give the command. How will you give? You give it through CLI, but you can give it through GUI also. But GUI is not recommended nowhere. Usually we do network associates or admins or whoever, we do it through CLI, command line interface. Whatever you give, you will give command lines. Am I correct? Yeah. Engineer. So how does device startup and what is the sequence? Cisco routers and switches generally perform same steps upon initial startup. Whatever the thing, either the routers or switches, they behave the same. First is they discover device hardware. Okay, they'll first check. We call it as a post operation. Okay, yes, or on self test, where this test is done whether to know whether whatever the hardware is connected to me. First, it will know what are the hardware components connected to me. Then it will check whether all the devices connected to me are working fine or not. That is discover device hardware. Next, it will find and load iOS image. Then it will find ultimately once it is started up, once it is confirmed that every device is working fine, and once it has come to a clarity that these are the devices hardware components are attached to me, it will find, now it will be in search of iOS image, that is operating system. Usually it will be in the flash. Okay, if it is not found out, if it is not found here, it will go to TFTP server, whatever the IP we give, it will go there, it will somehow find it, it will load in the flash, and it will run it. Once it is loaded, it will go for configuration file. If you have configured earlier itself, if you configured the router or the switch in the earlier itself, and if you have saved that configuration as a startup file, startup configuration file, it will load that file. If not, it will ask you for the configuration. That's it. And we have different memory types, that is flash, NVRAM, and DRAM. DRAM is everything running. NVRAM is you are storing this into NVRAM, and if you switch it off or on the device, if you switch it off or on, this NVRAM will not be deleted. Okay, whatever the startup configuration you are saving, it will be saved in the NVRAM until and unless you delete it manually. You will go, and until and unless you delete it, it will not delete it. And flash is the storage for iOS. And if you are creating some VLANs on the switch, particularly on the switch, they will be stored in the flash. Wait, which one? DRAM. It is like a RAM. The whatever, if you are performing some activity, where it is performed, it is performed on the RAM. Yes, right. It is a memory of the device where the operation all goes on. The same with the Cisco device. DRAM is actually, it is very similar to RAM of your PC. That's it. Yeah, as I told you already, there are two methods of configuring router or switch, that is GUI and CLI. This is you will give the command lines, and GUI, it will be like you'll have a graphical user interface, and you need to press the buttons and it will act. But even if you want to take CLI, first you need to take the access of the device through console port. Whenever if you see the real time device, you will have beside the ports, you will have one specific port called console port. Okay, this console port you need to connect it, the console cable, you'll have some cable for it, connect it to that console port, and the other end you connect it to your device. Yeah, switch and router, whatever the device, switch and router, you'll have the same process. The other end you connect it to your PC, then you need to open some putty or secure CRT. In that you need to select some serial port or COM port, you will be having some COM port. You tap on it and press OK, you will get the console of the device, where you will do some basic configuration like assigning one IP, management IP. Then you will be configuring some telnet, and once it is done, next time you can take it through telnet. Just you connect it through the casually. How do you connect it? You connect the port one end of the cable to your PC and the other end to your router, and you just give a command telnet the IP, whatever the management IP you have given. Okay, you'll get the access. But the initial configuration must be done through console. Until and unless you cannot access the device either through telnet or SSH, whatever the thing. Whatever the prerequisites in order to take the console, that is console cable and terminal emulator. Terminal emulator is, for example, you can take putty. It's like a software which is used to interact with the devices. You can take putty or you can take secure CRT. Yeah, as I told you already, he's doing this. He's telling the same thing. Connect console cable to console port, then terminal emulator. You need to open like software like putty or secure CRT. Choose serial option, and default baud rate is 9600. And if you press OK, you will get the access, console access. We'll do it next week. We'll do it. Present, I think there's no way to do it. If Manisha comes, she will give us the permissions to get the access. Okay. Um, so iOS, it has basically three modes. As you see here, OSS has a command hierarchy, that is user mode, privilege mode, configuration mode. Okay, user mode is, it is like very simple, like a user, you will not be giving him any extra access. Only he can check whether he has a connectivity to it or not. Only some basic commands he can ping it, and he cannot do telnet or SSH. On privilege level 1, we'll have it. User mode, you will not even have any commands. Very basic commands will be allowed on user mode. And on the Cisco, on the routers or devices, it will be denoted like this with this symbol. If you are able to see this symbol on the device in the CLI, then you are in the user mode. Okay. Then you have to type enable. I will show you now practically. Enable. On enabling it, you will go for privileged mode, where you will be showing this symbol. If you are able to see the symbol, it is privileged mode or else privileged exec mode. Okay. Then you will be having configuration mode. Okay. Configuration mode, where you can configure everything. In privilege execution mode, you can only see what is the configuration of the device. I mean, whatever the configuration you have done, what configuration did I do in the execution, that is privilege execution. But in configuration mode, you can do the configuration. And if you want to go for interface configuration mode, you need to give interface. If you want to do the routing configuration, you need to router. You will find like this configuration router configuration interface. And if you want to come back, just either press exit or end, or if you want to directly come to complete privilege mode in whatever the mode you are, just press Control Z. Okay, we'll do it. We'll do it. So wait, let me finish this. And this command login synchronous is while you're configuring, a device generates some logs in order to notify you that this change has occurred. It will generate some logs. Okay, and while you're typing, you will be having that what logs, and it will be in midway. And if you want that log to come after your command, you need to enter this logging synchronous. What happens is while you are giving your configuration, whatever the command you are giving, though the log is generated, it will be generated next. It will not be generated. It will not be shown to you at the point itself. Got it? Native language is very good. Eh? Yeah, and by default, router it does some domain lookup. That is, whatever the command you give, okay, it will check. Actually, what is this command? Okay, what is this command? And according to it, it will process it. Router. Okay, if by some time by some error you give some other word, it will be irritating that it will be stuck in the IP domain lookup. That time it will be stuck in that period, and for that time period you cannot do anything just looking at it. In order to avoid that, we need to give no IP domain lookup. We'll do this once. Just let me finish this. I'll take the access and I'll show you. Login synchronous, you got it? Yeah. IP domain lookup is whatever the command you give, actually router will check for what is this command and then it will process it. That is called domain lookup. Okay. For some you give some wrong command. Actually you want to give configure terminal. Okay. But you give some other wrong command which is not in its directory, then it will start checking for that. It will start searching for that command, whether I have this command or not. That is called IP domain lookup. Okay. Now what happens is, if it is actually the command you give is not in its directory, now what will it do is, it will be trying for it, and you for that in between this time you will be stuck in that period, IP domain lookup period. You cannot do anything for around 6 to 7 seconds or 10 seconds. You cannot do anything. You just have to see it. Instead of wasting time, instead of making device to check that thing, what will we do is, we'll tell no IP domain lookup. What will it do? By doing this, it will not search for directly, it will directly process that command. And if you want to set one name to device, actually you are getting here router, right? Once you give this host name and the name after this, next time you will get this name at the router place. Okay. Don't be confused. I'll do it now. At that time you'll get it more. Okay.